Hello and welcome to the Bob Morado Automotive Group 500 here for IndyCar and qualifying. Formula One, the Dutch Grand Prix is under a red flag, and IndyCar know very much about it with rain delays. Qualifying then to set the grid, we're going to hand over to IndyCar Radio. Now they're just building up 4 minutes until they go green, and they're showing currently IndyCar Classics. So in about 4 minutes time, everything will get going and we'll go green. We'll hand over now to IndyCar Radio.
This is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Radio Network.
Stay tuned. We're live in 3 minutes.
Newgarden won on an oval. He won on a street course, and if he wins this race today, could take home $1 million. Joseph Newgarden through turn number 5 for the final time. That battle again for that 5th position. It is now Felix Rosenquist on the gearbox of Colton Herta. Herta slow out of the turn. Back to the front though with Joseph Newgarden, your leader.
That situation has not resolved itself in terms of that battle for 5th, but all eyes up front on Joseph Newgarden, the baby blue and white machine, working his way into the carousel with a sizable 10-car length advantage over Marcus Ericsson. Joseph Newgarden, no issue through turn number 9. Works his way now underneath the Henry Bridge. Joseph Newgarden sets sail now, Mark, for turn number 11.
When he crests the hill, he'll see the twin checkers. A dominant day for Joseph Newgarden. He leads 26 of the 55 laps en route to victory at the Sanzio Grand Prix of Road America.
We're live in 2 minutes.
With a third win on a third different type of circuit in the NTT IndyCar Series this year, you win the People Ready Force for Good Challenge. That's $1 million, half for you, half for a charity. How cool is that?
I'm blown away. I kept forgetting about this whole deal because we've been sitting on it since Barber in April, but to finally get that done, you know, it shows the diversity of this sport, how difficult it is to go to all these disciplines and keep on it. And this team is the best at it. Absolutely a joy to drive for Team Penske. We have such a great crew here with all 3 cars, and especially on the 2 car. So we got to keep going. You know, it's still early days in this championship.
It was pretty dicey going. I mean, I saw in the mirrors I nearly got taken out, so it's pretty wild, but that's why we love IndyCar racing, right?
This is the NTT IndyCar Series on the IndyCar Radio Network. We're live in 1 minute.
Yeah, I love Mario. You know, what he does for our sport, what he's done for our sport, everything he does for our sport is just amazing, you know. So to even be mentioned in the same, conversation with him is truly touching for myself. And as I always say, you know, it's just amazing to have, you know, AJ and Mario here just about every weekend. You know, the legends of our sport and guys that I've looked up to for all my career. And, you know, just feel lucky that we get to spend a lot of time with them. And, yeah, we've got to keep on trucking, man. We've got to try and get some more wins here.
30 seconds until showtime.
What a team effort, man. What a team effort. The whole crew. Great group of guys this year. Absolute great group of guys. And feels surreal, man. I had so much pressure this weekend, and I kept rising to the occasion. I just kept saying, just focus on what you can control and get the most out of it.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Live from Worldwide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois, this is the NTT IndyCar Series. With complete coverage of today's qualifying, this is the IndyCar Radio Network.
Bomarito Automotive Group 500 presented by Axalta and Valvoline, scheduled for a little bit later today here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. A bit of a change in the schedule thanks to what Mother Nature brought yesterday. Qualifying today. We're set to take you through that. Some of the storylines this weekend, including for the first time, the use of an alternate tire compound. With more on that, let's welcome in Michael Young.
Well, good morning, Mark James with Kara Kristalik, Director of Tire Manufacturing and Engineering for Bridgestone Firestone. And we got our first test of them yesterday. We're trying something absolutely new here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, running an alternate tire. Had an opportunity to see it. I was watching you walk up and down pit lane, checking everything. Your thoughts as we ran it in our very first practice session, the overall performance and feedback from drivers.
Well, it was really neat to be able to see both the primaries and the alternates out on the racetrack. It was really hard to judge the difference between the two because if you watch practice, the very first stint everybody was doing, they were trying to set up for qualifying, get ready for this morning. and then the rest of the time they were working on their setups. So a lot of the fast times were set on the primary tires as they were in qualifying trim, and as they moved to race setup, everything seemed to be pretty close.
Now everybody will be on the primaries for the start of the race. It'll be an interesting wrinkle as how those reds are introduced and at what part of the race it will happen. Overall, I think a lot of the drivers, it was just interesting to see that they wanted more time, because with anything new, until they know exactly what they have, there's a little bit of uncertainty. But overall, I think to your point, it was interesting to see the wear on those tires as they came off. Everything looked really, really good. And for Firestone to come out here with something new and a product like that, it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's been great to see the engineering team at work on this one. It's exciting to see everything out there. And I think we'll see some good things this afternoon. And we had a great Indy Next race last night. Really good wear on those, so we'll look forward to seeing a good race today.
About the teams, when they talk to you, do you take their feedback and do you improve or change tires according to the feedback from the teams?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of inputs into our engineering design, so we look at the physical tires themselves, we analyze them after the track. There's a lot of good conversations with the IndyCar that happen after, because we want the really good quality of the tires. We also want a quality of a race too. And then we get feedback forms from each one of the drivers after the race, and that drives our decisions going forward.
This might be an odd question to ask, but I'll ask it anyhow because I'm good at odd questions. Turns 1 and 2 different than 3 and 4. Does that impact how you produce a tire and how overall its total compound is?
Yeah, certainly. When we look at stagger assignments for each race, when the first time we actually came out here, it was Ed Carpenter that was racing in a single car IndyCar test. We went through different versions of staggers. Some work really well in 1 and 2, and some are better in 3 and 4. And we settled on our shorter oval stagger, which really works.
Well, it's been a fantastic weekend thus far. We're looking forward to a great race. Thank you for your time as always. And here we go. Time to do qualifying here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway.
All right, excellent. Looking forward to it, Michael.
You enjoy. We will enjoy as well. That's Kara Kristalik with Bridgestone Firestone. Mark, a little bit about the tires that these fans will see in the race. Those alternates will come out, but here in qualifying, we'll be on those primaries.
Let's welcome in Jake Query.
And Marcus Ericsson is one of those who will go out here for qualifying shortly. And let's begin with this, Marcus. Yesterday, I think it was the end of the practice session. You got kind of tangled up there. Scott McLaughlin, Will Power, I think that was the incident. But take me through how your session ended yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good session, and then I got caught up in someone else's mistake there, which was obviously very disappointing, and became a long night for the 8-car guys and girls. So new car today, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, they've done a good job, and I know the car is going to be good.
They were just talking about the tire situation here and the different compound. How much feel did you get for how that's going to change things, or do you notice a significant change when you go from one set to the other?
Yeah, that was a problem for us. We just came out there in the end on the red tire to get a feel for it, and then this incident happened, so we didn't really get a read, unfortunately, but our teammates did. So doesn't seem to be a huge difference from what we've seen, but let's see today when we all have to race it.
You've been a great champion for your team, obviously. You won the Indianapolis 500 for Chip Ganassi. Now knowing that you're entering the final 3 races with that team before moving on to next to Andretti Autosport, what's the emotion of all of that?
The emotion is, I'm very thankful for everything we have achieved, and, winning the biggest race in the world, it doesn't get much better than that. So, I want to finish strong for everyone on the 8 car and for Chip and everyone, so that's my mindset here going into the last 3 to finish on a high, and I think we can do that.
Okay, so spill the secret. You were talking to David Malukas a second ago. Is that your future teammate?
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll see. There's a lot of quick guys around and a lot of moving parts, it seems like, in the silly season. So, yeah, we'll be interested to see who ends up where.
Lastly, just take me through a lap of this track and what challenge it does present, because the conditions have changed a little bit, even from, of course, yesterday. Now it's overcast, a little bit of cool air.
Yeah, it's an interesting track here, with the 2 ends being very different. You kind of brake and go down a couple of gears into turn 1, 2, and then turn 3, 4, it's just a very tiny lift, and it's very flat. So it's it's really hard to get the 2 ends to really work balance-wise, and you have to drive very different. So that's the kind of challenge I enjoy here. So yeah, that will be a challenge now for quali, obviously with the overcast and quite cool temps. That's also going to change things a bit. So yeah, an interesting session here ahead of us.
Appreciate the time and be safe.
Thank you.
That's Marcus Ericsson. Michael?
Yeah, with Helio Castroneves. I'm an old guy. You're still extremely young guy. We're down here on pit lane, and I asked if you could do an interview. You're like, sure. And then you said, let's go over here. And here comes the jet dryer. I'm like, where's Elio going? And it's like, clearly I have no idea what's going on down here on pit lane.
Exactly. I mean, like, why you want to do a screaming interview that you and I cannot hear each other. So, but yeah, apparently there is some issues with the track, with oil, and great job from the AMR team to be able to resolve. And yeah, we got to get going. We got to qualify and we got to race.
A little bit about your future. Obviously, the announcement made you're going to be a part owner now, still going to be a driver as well. You've always talked about going to various forms of motorsports. What would you still like to accomplish? What would you still like to do before you officially become a retired driver?
Yeah, no, certainly IMSA brought me a big range of ideas and how much fun it is to drive different cars. And, of course, SRX is another type of racing, which is really cool. So the next, which is easy and natural to go, not easy, but natural to go, it would be like the Daytona 500, which I expressed my interest in last year. Hopefully we can make it happen. Now we have the time to do it, and we just got to find a good partner and a good team to make it happen.
You're good at 500s, obviously the Indy 500. How about today? What about a 500 for today?
Well, today is going to be interesting for sure. Thank God the weather is a little bit steady. Weather seems to be cooler than obviously before. That helps everyone, not only myself, but helps everyone. We will have a element of surprise a little bit, which is the alternate tire in the oval, which is the first time ever being using here. So it will be interesting. It will be a lot of fun.
Did you enjoy it last night on your first time out? How much testing did you get on those alternates?
Yeah, no, we are able to put it right away. We want to make sure that we understand what the tires are doing. They did seem to be change a little bit of the balance of the car, but we noticed that my teammate, for example, Linus, didn't have any issues. So it might be a little bit of the setup and trying something different, but yeah, time to go.
You talked about new drivers yesterday, of course, Tom Blomqvist, but the other driver in the lineup, are you guys set to announce that? Do we know who that is yet?
Yeah, we're still in conversations, of course. As you mentioned, Tom is he's going to be back in Laguna Seca and Portland as well. And right after that, we're going to go back to Texas to make sure that we get him ready for the oval. So, but at the moment, Mike is talking to, having some conversations, and we got to wait until the right time.
Well, we wish you all the best in your new role out here on the track today, the rest of the season, the future. You could be out here another 20 years. Who knows?
I hope so. But one thing for sure, and people should remember that 500 next year, we drive for 5 is still alive, and we're going to keep it going.
Can't wait to see it. Good luck out there in qualifying.
Thank you.
That's Elio Castro-Neves, Jake Query.
David Malukas actually just asked me the burning question here, which is what's the delay for? I think they are simply sweeping off some of the rubber that was just laid down. I'm not sure. There was an oil that was laid down. That's what it was. Oil that's laid down on the main straightaway. David Malukas, let's begin with this. This track a year ago, I understand why you want to know why the delay, because you probably want to get out there. Second a year ago, it's a pretty good track for you. Take me through it.
Oh, yeah, no, I love this track. So many good memories. And yesterday it was a successful day for us. We learned a lot with the car, and I think with the temperature and the weather, it's kind of exactly where we want things to be. So I'm really excited to get out there and kind of give it our all and trying to get this done so I can get these nerves out of me.
You know, one of the things I find interesting, we were just talking about this. You've got on shoes with, 78 that was your number in lights, now Indy Next. You've got on the 18, of course. What number next year?
Okay, that's a good one. Unfortunately, there's going to be no comment on that one. I can't say anything. All I'm going to say is it's a good number.
Has it been a challenge, though, when, obviously you've worked well with this team and you've had good success for them, and to know now that you're heading down the home stretch, entering turn 4, proverbially speaking, with Dale Coyne Racing, can you discuss the emotions that comes with that?
Oh, I know, of course. I mean, I love everybody in the team, and it's been an incredible 2 years, and I wouldn't have wanted to have my rookie season and my start to IndyCar with any other team. I think it was the best place for me, and it was very passionate for us. And, the best memory being here last year, it was something special for me and the whole team. So it's definitely very emotional, and I love every single one of them. But, things just... we have to move on, and we're going to finish the season off strong.
Was there anything you learned yesterday just about this track, or maybe the nuances of the feel for it, that can translate to today, maybe get you that one spot higher than where you finished a year ago?
Well, yeah, the more time, the better. But I mean, tomorrow it's going to be, I think, a lot more of the interest later today, the race. But alternate tires, that's going to be the number one question in the race, is how those are going to handle. Of course, everybody did laps, but nobody really knows what the wear is going to be later on.
You know, that actually does beg one more question. We're used to qualifying, and then you come back the next day, and, you know, obviously today, kind of a one-day show. Does that change in any way, shape, or form, almost like an urgency of all of it?
No, I mean, no, honestly, for us, it was probably a bit better just going off of yesterday. We had a lot more time to look at the data from the practice session to kind of get the car where we needed to be for qualifying. So for us, this kind of scenario kind of helped a little bit, less chaotic for qualifying. But now, of course, going into the race, now that's going to be chaotic. But I think overall, in general, this is probably the better scenario for us.
I tried on the next year question, but you're a pretty good poker player. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right, it's David Malukas. Mark?
Thank you, Jacob. I do want to get some clarification again on the specifics of the delay, and for some assistance on that, we'll bring in Nick Yeoman, who's high atop at the exit at turn number 4, helped us call qualifying and the race today, and of course a USAC Silver Crown session prior to qualifying, and still engaged in some track prep and some cleanup for that session, Nick.
Yeah, and it's a pretty significant cleanup at that, Mark. It is pit lane was the first spot that they touched. Looked like one of the Silver Crown cars must have laid down some oil or expired an engine. I don't think it was our driver analyst, Davey Hamilton. At least I certainly hope not. But first they had to sweep pit lane, and then all the way down the front straightaway to the inside, right against the pit wall. There's a lot of speedy drive that has been laid down. The track sweepers have gone through. The jet dryers have blown it around as well as they're trying to clean up that part of the racetrack as much as possible. And the good news, Mark, I can report is now the first couple Indy cars that we'll see on the track. Ed Carpenter, Benjamin Peterson, their cars are now being pushed out of the garage area, out of the paddock, onto pit lane. So that is a clear indication that we are getting close. Again, AMR safety crew driving through all the speedy dry on the front straightaway to clean up some of that oil and fluids that's been laid down. But it looks like we are getting close. Let's go back to pit lane and check in once again with Michael Young.
Yeah, thanks, Nick Yeoman, down with Scott McLaughlin. Scott just pointed out he had just spoken with television, and I'm radio. Well, my thing is, you probably well aware I'm not that smart of a guy that I would come and talk to you a second time. That's a fair assessment on your part.
I literally just talked to your compatriot in Georgia Hannaberry, and but I'm happy to talk again.
Well, you were doing a walk over there. You were talking with Ben Bretzman. What's going on? Are you guys having a little fun over there in the Penske stable?
We were waiting around. We're all bored. We just want to get going. So. Excited to go. It's gonna be a big couple of laps just sending it, so it's have a lot of fun.
About yesterday, obviously the spin, the comfort level going into this is just 2 quick ones, and this will determine a lot. You are very successful here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Overall setup, are you comfortable with where things are right now?
Yeah, like we rolled off the truck really strong. You know, Odyssey battery car was just unreal, and I think we've just. You know, as every oval I run, I feel like more comfortable. Every first lap on an oval, I feel better. I mean, I spun like Will said dumbass yesterday, so I spun there, and that sucked, but that was my own fault. But super mass apologies to the 8 and the 12 for that. But super excited to see them out and racing, and hopefully we can all have a good race today.
What was the first time that you ran an oval and said, boy, I like this, and you felt like I could be really good at this?
Oh, I think I still got a long way to go before I'm good at it. I've just got great teammates that I'm learning off, and teams that I'm leaning off as well. But when I went on Texas for the first time, I was like, yeah, this is what IndyCar's all about. This is fun, and I certainly hope we have more ovals in the future because they're a blast. This track is like one of my favorites, and it's a lot of fun.
Cars on the way out. Get back at it. Good luck in qualifying in the race today.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
That's Scott McLaughlin, guys.
Yeah, and, easy to see during that conversation is why he has become a fan favorite in a relatively short amount of time. And Jake Query, speaking of fan favorites, you have one with you.
No question about it. Guy that's made 7 starts here, as a matter of fact, at Gateway, Connor Daly. And I noticed, by the way, we've made a lot over the course of the weekend. You've now driven for every team on this grid except for Penske and Ganassi, but you've got on 2 different kinds of shoes. So did you got the fire suit correct? What happened with the shoes here?
I just got lost on the way here. No, Sparko actually does a really good job making cool stuff for me, so we went for it. But shoes are the least important thing today now.
Well, let's talk about that, getting into a new car. Is it like putting on an old pair of shoes where you just kind of slide in from one to the other, or is every one of them different? Take me through now in the 30 car how it felt yesterday.
Yeah, honestly, it's super different. It's there are a lot of smart people in this paddock and a lot of really experienced engineers and teams, and this is the top level of motorsport. Certainly in this part of the world, and we've got a lot of really good drivers. So there's multiple ways you can run these cars. You have a whole range of things you can do, and from what I've experienced now, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. So try to get used to that. Thankfully, we were fast right out the gate, and we want to keep that going, obviously. Qualifying super important. I would love to put a couple good laps in here. Obviously, we have to go out early, but I'm excited for it.
Appreciate the time. Connor Daly, again, has a top 5 here, Mark, and when talking about him and talking about the different cars he's been in, he said, hey, look, I had a really good car at Iowa for that matter, but it was just in qualifying. I made a mistake, kind of set us back a little bit. So wants to make sure now, driving for that Rahal Letterman Lanigan, my Jack car number 30, that he's able to get things dialed in here in this session we're about to see.
Thanks, guys. Good stuff. And we're just a couple of minutes away from going qualifying as the entire field is now making its way out onto pit road, as it looks like the cleanup is pretty much complete. Davey Hamilton multitasking today, wearing several different hats, among those that USAC Silver Crown hat.
Well, yeah, I am wearing it now, but unfortunately as a car owner, I had brought 2 cars here, Trey Burke driving one of them. Unfortunately, we had a fuel pump drive issue with this car, so guess what? The old guy, I got kicked out of my car and let him drive it. So as much as I was looking forward to this race, Mark, unfortunately, with a broke-down car, Trey gets the nod. He's a young kid with up-and-coming kid, and the old guy has to sit aside, unfortunately.
Let's go back to Michael Young.
Yeah, with Felix Rosenquist, you've had a headset on this entire morning since you've been out on the pit stand. What do you listen to? Who do you talk to? What's going on there? Because I see your lips moving, but I don't see anybody around you.
I mean, we're just talking on the stand, trying to pass the time. It's the last couple of races, been a lot of delays, so we're just trying to have some fun while waiting.
About yesterday, what did you do that entire day? There was a lot of waiting yesterday, then you finally got out and it was action-packed. But on a long day like that, what happens?
Oh, man, I had like a 2-hour nap, ate a lot.
You're not supposed to eat before you get in the car, but we did have some time.
Dude, yeah, it's a long day. I mean, same there. You're just trying to have fun. Obviously, engineers kind of start working on Portland and stuff. That we kind of limited on time always, so they always look ahead for the next weekend. But me, Alex, and Pato just kind of hang out, talk shit. It's yeah. What do you do?
Exactly. You're the 16th to go out and qualify, and your teammates will go after. Is there enough time to transfer any information about the track and how it is?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we always try to work together and kind of, report the balance and stuff. Luckily, there's quite a few cars ahead of us to clean the track. There's been some oil dry and stuff on the track here this morning, so I think they might be a little bit slippery right now, but track temps are really cool, and I think we might see some lap records here.
Finally, what are the plans for 2024? Do you have any idea what's in store for you and where we could end up seeing you, if not back here at Arrow McLaren, but somewhere else?
I mean, I have some things cooking and nothing done yet. I wouldn't really, tell you anything as I don't have anything signed, but I think in the next week or two there might be some news.
We look forward to that news. We wish you all the best in qualifying in the race today as well.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to him, and certainly interested to see where he ends up in 2024. That's Felix Rosenquist.
Thank you guys again. Good stuff, and we should go qualifying very, very soon. So, Davey, tell us about how much different they can expect Worldwide Technology Raceway to be today than it was in that practice session last night.
Well, one thing that Felix, noticed, and we can see, it's cool out.
Right.
It's overcasty. That usually means for really good track conditions. Silver Crown cars, as you said, Mark, we're just out there. Track's clean. We know that. I mean, there's a little bit of oil on the bottom of the straightaway, but it really didn't affect the corners any. So I expect to be pretty good, pretty fast. I think downforce are going to like it, what they're dealt with. Now, the rain came last night. It washed that rubber back off the racetrack. I think there's still some on there from their the Firestone rubber, but like I say, the Silver Crown cars went out and I cleaned it off. I expect the cars to be pretty balanced.
We heard drivers with differing opinions. Well, Colton Herta, for one, really didn't have a lot of faith in that high groove session that they added last night. Other drivers, on the other hand, felt like something was going to come in. Maybe Colton knew something just based upon the weather forecast, because, a pretty good chance that most of the stuff that they laid down, it's going to be a while before they find any grip at all up there.
Yeah, and so one thing you got to remember is, we'll find out qualifying the gap between the fastest and the slowest qualifier. It's usually about 1 second. So by the time on this mile and a quarter we're going around here in 15, 16, 17 seconds. So, but you get the green flag, and the spread as you get, that really is a half a track of race cars. So it's only going to take probably 10 seconds or 10, 12 laps for the leaders to catch up to the back markers potentially. So when that happens, they're going to go upstairs. They're going to try it. The track's going to be clean. There's no marbles up there. They're going to shoot it up there. I think it's going to be good right off the bat, but they need to stay up there. They need to keep it clean. Ferrucci and a few of these guys, even Power, he gets up high, and don't count out Dixon. He's a sleeper. He's usually pretty conservative, but I would see him trying that outside, trying to keep it clean.
Well, let's go back a year ago. I mean, we had a 2-hour rain delay last year, and then when the race resumed, David Malukas for one.
Yeah, Malukas was
he went up top. He made it work. As a matter of fact, as we talked about last night, his spotter, Pancho Carter, told him he probably should have gone up a little bit earlier, could have made a better run. So even though that rain came last year and washed a lot of that away, that high groove still came in late in the race.
That came late in the race, that's right. And I think that it will do that. Now, I don't know what the plan is for sweepers. It's a long race. It'd be great if some yellows came out and sweepers kind of clean the corners up just a little bit and try to continue that high groove to be good.
Mile and a quarter in length, Nick Yeoman, so give us more of the specifics of Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Well, first, Mark, I'd just like to point out, I know you're a big college football fan. There's a marching band that is making their way behind the press box here on the front stretch. But as you mentioned, mile and a quarter, it's an odd-shaped oval here just outside of St. Louis. Turns 1 and turns 2, sharper radius, a little bit more banking. Turns 3 and 4, quite a bit wider sweeping angle. First car of the racetrack, Mark, the golden and black Bitnile Chevrolet of Ed Carpenter, as we are set to qualify the field for the Barbarito Automotive Group 500.
Quite a longevity mark, Davey. Start number 200 for Ed Carpenter.
Yeah, isn't that
recently.
great? I've been around Ed, teammates with Ed, raced Ed back in Sprint Car Silver Crown days, so I've been a long-time friend and enjoyed driving for that Vision Racing, which was Ed Carpenter of today, and it's good to see Ed still out here giving it a shot. I mean, he struggled this last few years on ovals, but we know how good he is. We'll see what he can do today.
Ed's the first qualifier, then Benjamin Peterson, Stingray Robb, Devlin DeFrancesco, and Connor Daly. Ed Carpenter dials it into turn number 2 in front of Nick Yeoman.
A couple years ago, Ed Carpenter nearly won this race. It was a podium that featured Takuma Sato, Ed Carpenter, and Tony Kanaan as the veterans ruled that day. Ed Carpenter sets up for turn number 3. He'll keep it off that red and white curbing to the inside, already rocketing out of turn number 4.
Off of turn number 4, just like that, he sees the white flag fly, and 1 lap will be in the book for Ed Carpenter, 174.267 miles per hour. Again, lap number 1 for Ed Carpenter, 174.267.
He'll let that car eat up off of turn number 2, plants it right in the middle of the racetrack, down the back straightaway, knows that car is gold, the cockpit and side pods black for the driver from Indianapolis, Indiana, Ed Carpenter out of turn 4.
Off of turn number 4, Ed Carpenter, 1 lap in the books, 174.267. Lap number 2 is in the books, 174.680. A bit quicker, Davey. The 2-lap average, 174.473.
Yeah, pretty consistent laps right there, but unfortunately, Ed is not going to be happy with those. I think that, he's going to be really towards the back of the field, unfortunately. But, Ed, he's calm, he's collective, and they can work on that car throughout the run, but that's not a good time to be towards the front of the field.
I do want to make mention that it was announced this morning by IndyCar that Alex Palou has been added to the list of those that get a 9-position grid penalty. Ooh. So qualifying, getting a little more importance for Alex Palou.
Wow, very interesting. Our points leader, I mean, obviously he has a nice points lead. It's his to lose, but anytime something like that happens, you got to pay attention to it and getting that grid penalty. He can make it up. It's an oval. It's a passing zone all the way around this place, so don't be surprised if he still doesn't find his way to the front.
Frankenstein is a term used to describe cars that have been kind of pieced together among teams. We look down to see Marcus Ericsson's car looks just like that. A lot of Alex Palou pieces and parts along with the number 8.
Yeah, and remember we talked about that when it showed it on screen, seeing some tub damage to that Ericsson car and that red car. They were working hard on it, and I thought, well, maybe it's not enough damage to warrant a new chassis. Maybe they're going to fix it. But what they were doing, Mark, taking all the parts off of that car to put on the Palou spare car. And as you said, it's a bit Frankenstein, but you count on one thing with that Ganassi team, it's put together right.
The run is underway. The 55 machine for Benjamin Peterson. He dials it off of turn number 4, and just like that, he will see the white flag fly, and 1 lap will be in the book. Sexton Property sponsorship on the car, 176.501. Lap number 1 for Benjamin Peterson.
This organization was in the news this week as Team Penske formed an alliance with AJ Foyt Racing. See what the rookie Benjamin Peterson could do here in qualifying. Mark, he's already into turns 3 and 4.
Setting up for turn number 4, left wheels just above the white line at the apex of the turn. Comes to turn number 4 and sees the checkered flag in the air off of 176.501. Lap number 2, 176.990. The two-lap average for Benjamin Peterson, 176.745. Davey, we should make mention that technical alliance, according to all parties involved, that's something that is immediate. It's not going to wait until next year.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's happening right now. Talked to some of the Foyt crew members today, and again this morning, Ferrucci does feel like he has a pretty darn good car. Didn't show it on timing score, and he goes, I got some saved there. I think I'm going to be good. So we'll see what happens.
Jake Query.
The numbers, Ed Carpenter has a top 5 finish here. He has now qualified for the 8th time at Gateway, an average starting spot of 17th, average finishing spot of 17th. But did you get the most numbers out of that 33 Bitnile machine?
Probably not. We've been struggling as of late, and this definitely hasn't been our strongest place the past couple of years. So, unfortunately, I'm not doing a good enough job. As a group, we're not doing a good enough job right now. So hopefully my teammates can learn something from that and, get a little better starting position for themselves.
I guess the elementary question would be, if there's speed just a little bit that's missing, are you able to determine exactly where that is?
No. We wouldn't be in the situation we're in if we had all the answers. We've been searching here the back half of the season, and, not trying to sound super critical because the whole group is working very hard, but we just haven't found what we're missing or what the common denominator is, and some of our struggles. So we'll keep fighting. Definitely no quit in our team, and we'll be back.
Best of luck this afternoon.
Thanks.
Ed Carpenter.
Stingray Robb has taken the green flag, comes off of turn number 4. This will be the 15th start of his career, year number 1 of the NTT IndyCar Series. His average finish on the season, 22.9, looking to finish the season strong. One of those guys is wondering what his future is going to hold. Nick Yeoman, lap number 1 for Stingray Robb, 176.751.
And a reminder to new or casual IndyCar fans, we qualify them on ovals in reverse entrant points. So theoretically, based on the season, we'll see the faster cars go out later and later in this session. Stingray Robb's been a tough rookie season. Maybe looking for a bright spot, Mark, as he gets the checkered flag in qualifying.
Picks it up quite a bit off of 176.751, Davey. Lap number 2, 178.854. That bumps his two-lap average to 177.792.
Yeah, not bad. We know how much he likes this racetrack. Probably not where he really wants to be. I think that 178, 9, and that we're going to get over 180. I just have a feeling that we're going to get over 180 today. So that kind of gives you an idea where these guys are going to fall in.
Joseph Newgarden did that in practice yesterday, the only one to do so, in fact. Michael Young.
Yeah, with Benjamin Peterson, never easy going out early. The conditions from last night to this morning, night and day different?
There's a bit more grip overall, but no, pretty good run on my part, I feel. I think we had a technical issue with the weight jacker, so I think it was collapsing, so I just had to reset it every straightaway, which was a bit odd, but that was everything I could get out of it, I feel. First IndyCar qualifying here, pretty different than an Indy Next car, but we'll see how she rolls here. But yeah, I felt like I left everything on the table, so that's all I can do.
Bottom line, good race car?
I think so. Honestly, we looked pretty good yesterday in longer runs, so yeah, hopefully we can carry our Indy 500 in Texas performance from earlier in the year and deliver the team a strong result.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
That's Benjamin Peterson, two-lap average, 176.745.
Run is underway for Devlin DeFrancesco in his second season, and this is career start number 32 for Devlin DeFrancesco. Got the weekend off to a good start a couple of weeks ago at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with a qualifying position of 5th. Made a great move at the start of it to get up front. It ended up finishing in the 19th position. Nick Yeoman, lap number 1 of the books for Devlin DeFrancesco, 178.783.
Yeah, I'm still trying to pick my jaw off the floor, Mark, from that incredible pass that he made at the start of the race. We'll see what he can do in qualifying. That car is baby blue and white off of turn number 4. The driver from Canada, it's Devlin DeFrancesco.
178.783, a very consistent run. 178.939, the two-lap average, Davey, 178.861.
Yeah, now we're talking. I think that's numbers are going to be more respectable. It's going to be towards the middle of the field, but that's pretty respectable time. A good job for him in that car. A little different seeing him in that light powder blue car. It's hard to recognize him this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to have a few that might throw us from time to time. As we mentioned, the cobbled-together effort by Marcus Ericsson, and but we're looking at a couple of iconic entries for Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan Racing in terms of sponsorship. The MyJack livery on that car for Connor Daly.
Hogan back on.
Yeah, Hogan
awesome?
back on Graham Rahall's car as well. Let's go to pit road, check out with Jake Query.
Stingray Robb is out of his Good Heart Animal Health Center Honda. Let's begin by asking this, Stingray. You make your initial qualifying effort here in your rookie campaign at Gateway, but I want to just talk about your season in general. We're headed down the home stretch here towards the last 3 races. How would you assess your rookie season?
I mean, so far I haven't done what I wanted to, but, you know, this track here seems to suit our car really well, so maybe that'll change this weekend.
What challenges does this track present for you?
You know, I think that in general this track is just very unique in the sense that both ends of the track are very different. You know, 1 and 2 is a big brake zone essentially for an oval, and you're going down a couple gears there, and then 3 and 4 you're almost flat out. So that just adds a different element to it, and with the wind direction you never know what you're going to get. So with the grandstands clearing out down there, it's just a different race car at both ends.
And you heard mention of that wind. Stingray Rob, appreciate it. There is a breeze that is blowing. It comes off of turn 4 intermittently, Mark, but when it kicks up, it is there. Probably more so even than we saw yesterday. But that's the rookie Stingray Rob.
Even though the decision was made to move on from Connor Daly by Ed Carpenter Racing earlier this year, Nick Yeoman, he has still managed to he's going to make his 10th start this weekend in the NTT IndyCar Series.
Yeah, picked up a couple starts for Meyer-Shank Racing, and now moving into the 30 car for what is now a 1-race deal for Jack Harvey, who has parted ways with Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan. We'll see what Connor can do in qualifying. Mark, he sees the white flag and that red and white My Jack machine.
179.569. Again, 179.569. Nick Yeoman, as he's already off of turn number 2.
And this backs up what we saw in practice. Connor looked pretty stout. In fact, for much of the day yesterday, the fastest of the Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan trio. Here comes Connor Daly, keeps it off the inside line as he rockets that car out of turn 4.
Found the smooth groove for sure, according to what we can see from the in-car camera portion. Picked up the pace a little bit, 180.288. Davey, the 2-lap average, 180.28, 179.928, 179.928 for Connor Daly.
Yeah, really good. That's a good run right there. That second lap got over that 180-mile-an-hour mark. Good run for him. That 179, that's going to be solid. That's towards the front of the field, no question about it. Like I said, I think there's going to be some averages over that 180-mile-an-hour mark, especially when you get Newgarden and some of those Penske guys out there. But that was a really good run by Daly.
With that overhead view, the in-car camera off our monitor, Davey, especially through 3 and 4, he didn't look like he was fighting that wheel a lot.
No, that thing was smooth as could be. He had a really nice line down there. He had a nice entry, a little high, brought it down, didn't go all the way to the line, freed the car up on exit, and wasn't fighting it whatsoever. That was the smoothest hands I've seen so far.
You've got Lundqvist, Canapino, Hunter Ray, Ferrucci, Elio Castro Neves, David Malukas to come, and others. Fastest so far is Connor Daly at 179.928. Devlin DeFrancesco is second quick at 178.861. Stingray Robb at 177.792. Benjamin Peterson at 176.745. And Ed Carpenter at 174.473. Those are the 5 qualifiers so far as Linus Lundqvist continues to impress. We talked to him yesterday, earlier this weekend. It wasn't that long ago. He seemed to be almost forgotten, and now he seems to be on a lot of people's short list.
Yeah, no, I think that I feel like he has something in the works, and something else that told me something yesterday when we interviewed Elio Castro Neves. Him being part of that team, going to be part of the 500, and saying, hey, I'm going to work with this team. We're going to have new drivers next year. And when he said new drivers, not new driver,
right.
I did just, my suspicion's high. Simon's my pal. I wish the best for him. And I haven't been able to talk to him here for a while, but not knowing what his situation is. But just it makes us all curious on who may be in that car next year.
So Lundqvist makes his way through turns 3 and 4 with the left sides right at the white line through the midway point of those 2 turns. Lap number 1 is in the books. 179.654 again. 179.654.
Linus Lundqvist comes to us out of the Indy Next program, the champion a year ago, and this is his IndyCar oval debut. Already setting up for turn number 3, slices his way through that third corner, hits the apex, stays in the throttle. That car drifts up the racetrack a little bit out of turn 4, but it looks fast, that pink and black machine.
Lap number 1, 179.654. Second lap, faster still, 179.950. The 2-lap average for Linus Lundqvist, 179.802. Davey, he's the second fastest qualifier of the 6 so far.
Good, but how about that really close time to him and Connor, the overall times, 8:02 to 9:28, that 179 in front of it. So really good run by both those drivers. I think they're both going to say, we left a little bit on the line, but you know what? They're going to have really good starting spots, and they got opportunity in this race for sure.
So you've got Daly, your fastest so far at 179.928. then Lundqvist, then DeFrancesco, Stingray Robb, Benjamin Peterson, and Ed Carpenter. Those still to qualify. August Canapino getting ready to take his warm-up laps. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Santino Ferrucci, Elio Castro-Neves, David Malukas, and Callum Ilott. You want to pay particular attention as we get to the end of the line, Davey. Going to be interesting to see what Power and Ericsson do with the cars that had to be rebuilt and repaired. Then Award, McLaughlin, Newgarden, Dixon, and Palou.
Yeah, that's right. And that we're going to find out, right, how good those cars are. And as a driver, you cannot let an incident slow you down. You got to go out there, have faith in your team, have faith in that car, and get after it. And those drivers will definitely do that. So it's going to be exciting to see what they could pull off after a rough day yesterday.
Rookie season for Augustin Canapino. He takes the green flag, and while we'll watch his run, Michael Young's going to visit with Connor Daly.
It's interesting. You're with Rahal Letterman Lanigan this weekend, Connor Daly, and the team came up, the crew guys all patted you on the back. Have you worked with these guys before? Obviously, you've driven several cars, but it's interesting the chemistry that you look like you've built in just a day.
Well, I love working with these race teams. I've been lucky and unlucky enough to work with a lot of them, and I have appreciation for so many people in this paddock. Everyone works so hard, but appreciate this team, honestly. I think that you'll see the times come down. I wish I would have had at least a couple more tenths gap on everyone else, but the track's good, so the track's fast, so you're going to see some good speeds, I think, once you see the Joseph Newgarden go out, but yeah, I'm pumped to be where we're at already. I think it'll stand for a little bit, and let's just keep going. I'm so pumped to be here. The car felt just so nice to drive, and a change we made from yesterday, I think, is going to really help us for later today.
Best of luck at the race.
Thank you.
That's Connor Daly, 2-lap average for him, 179.928, quickest thus far.
And just like that, the run is complete for Augustin Canapino, 178.468 for lap number 1, 178.517. The 2-lap average, 178.490. Currently the 4th fastest qualifier, Jake Query.
And Linus Lundqvist is out of that number 60 machine, and he just confessed something to me off mic, so now I'm going to make you confess it on mic. Little nerves going into that, huh?
Of course. It's my first ever qualifying here on ovals, and obviously oval qualifying, you always get a little bit nervous, but I think as long as it's under control, it's actually a benefit. But yeah, no, very, very happy with our run. Again, a little bit of limited running this weekend going into the race, so I'm happy to get every lap around this place as many as I can get, but pretty happy with it. Maybe there was a little bit more just pushing, but honestly, I don't think we could have asked for a lot more.
He can relax for now. Linus Lundqvist, Mark.
Green flag flies of the run for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Hard to believe, Nick Yeoman. This is career start number 291 for this former series champ and Indy 500 winner.
Yeah, it certainly is, and this will be an interesting run. He's the second of 3 Ed Carpenter Chevrolets out of the racetrack. The car owner, Ed, wasn't very happy. We'll see what the veteran Ryan Hunter-Reay can do. Mark across the start-finish line. He sees the white flag.
Certainly cool-looking liveries on those cars, Nick Yeoman. Lap number 1 in the books for Ryan Hunter-Reay, 177.371. Again, lap number 1 for Ryan Hunter-Reay, 177.371.
Now, the nose of this car is in gold, and it's kind of ocean blue. The rear of that machine, BitNile, the sponsorship, as it is on all 3 of these Ed Carpenter Chevrolets. Ryan Hunter-Reay keeps it off for the inside line, tries to streak his way across the start-finish line.
He clears the start-finish line and picks up the pace a little bit. Lap number 2, 178.918. The 2-lap average, 178.141. Currently, Davey, 5th quick for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
One thing there, too, with Ed Carpenter being the very first car out, a bit of a disadvantage. Everybody kind of marks, and you can see the time just slowly going up from Ed. Ed was able to give probably Ryan a little advice, and hey, I left some on the table, or was a little, put some nose wing in or whatever, just to help that teammate out. And I'm sure Hunter-Reay is going to do the same for the the next their other teammate would beat Rinus VK. Yeah, that's right.
It's interesting when you listen to Ed. There's probably nothing more frustrating. He answered the question when we asked, "Hey, what's wrong?" He said, "Well, if we knew, we'd fix it." That's that level of frustration is going to be unbelievable.
That is a bummer for Ed, and it's just not there. And I just think that as a team that they're going to refocus. I feel confident with that, and it may be a situation to where they just need to focus on a program and just a couple cars and put all their, it's hard to run 3 cars, and especially when you're just one-offs, like Ed's doing. So he may, I would love to see him to do the 500, but maybe for the full season might be the better thing just to run a couple cars.
Title sponsorship on the side pod, Pomerino Automotive Group and Santino Ferrucci setting up for turn 3, Nick Yeoman.
Yeah, we know if you're in the market for a new car, you go turn turn to the Bommarito Automotive Group. If you're in the market for a driver who will stand up on it on the ovals, it would be this guy. Santino Ferrucci out of turn number 4, Mark, to complete lap 1 of his qualifying run.
Lap number 1 of the books, a pretty good one, 180.314. Again, 180.314 for Santino Ferrucci.
And again, driving for the legendary A.J. Foyt. Down the back straightaway, that black car, rear and front wing of that machine in red. Santino Ferrucci arcs it in to turn number 3.
Comes off at turn number 3, and a big moment for Santino Ferrucci. That car got all kind of loose at the apex at turn number 3, and he is going to nurse it across the start-finish line all the way down to 172.881. The 2-lap average for Santino Ferrucci, 176.519. Davey, what a moment for that young driver.
Yeah, that was a big one. When you can visually see an IndyCar get loose like that, it is absolutely a handful for these drivers. And I tell you what, he was on that verge. We're going to watch it again. Gets down into turn 3 really nice. It looks good. Then all of a sudden you see that back end just start sliding out. He did a really good job correcting it, not over-correcting it. But, boy, it just killed his time, puts him all the way back in 8th out of the 9 drivers now.
And we talked about the number of starts for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Starting to pile up for Santino Ferrucci. He's closing in on 60 career starts. And he used every one of them to hold on to that car.
Yeah, that's right. He used every one to hold on to that car. What a bummer. When I seen that 180-mile-an-hour lap, the fastest lap turned so far in qualifying, I thought, good deal. That's going to be great. You know, let's back it up with another 180, which I think he was going to try to beat that. And like I say, the back end just didn't quite hang on and almost lost it.
And again, this is one of those explanations where you ask him, say, you know, in a situation like that, it happens so fast.
And these cars, let me tell you what, they're so hard to hang on to. And let me tell you, it's hard to feel these cars. Sometimes they just take off like that. It feels good, and all of a sudden it loses grip, and it goes quick.
Well, you are going to hear plenty about the drive for 5. And you heard him mention it early on, talking about Helio Castroneves. While he goes through the warm-up paces, we'll head to pit road, check in with Jake Query.
And one of those guys he famously battled with at Indianapolis, Ryan Hunter-Reay, is out of his car here in that Bitnile machine. Ryan, we talked to your teammate and owner, Ed Carpenter, and he was open about the fact that there just was something missing and it was frustrating. What would be your observation about the Bitnile Com car you just got out of?
Yeah, I mean, it's so close here. When you're lacking a little bit, you're lacking a lot of it. So it's just, you know, just lacking some overall kind of rear grip. So it's, yeah, just a little bit off. That second lap was okay, not quite about where we wanted, but the first lap just missed the balance a little bit.
Good to see you back.
Thanks.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, Mark.
Yep, good stuff, Jake. Thank you. From Ryan Hunter-Reay, Helio Castroneves has completed 1 lap now, 178.991. And Nick Yeoman, you almost hear a sense of relief in his voice, knowing that his future is pretty well secure.
Yeah, knows that he's at least going to run the Indianapolis 500, and I thought it was awful cool that Meyer Shank Racing extended a bit of an ownership opportunity for Helio to be a minority owner in that team moving forward. That pink and black Sirius XM car completes its qualifying run.
Lap number 1, 178.991. Davey, clearly he found something he liked on lap number 2, bumped it up to 180.026, and then third quick, 179.507. Davey, we'll get your thoughts on that after we hear from Santino Ferrucci.
Yeah, real quick. I know the heart rate was up, and you were shaking a little bit. That was a moment, my friend. Good save.
Yeah, I'm still shaking a little bit. I mean, I know the car is really good. I felt really comfortable. We made a couple changes overnight, and, you know, it's a really hard racetrack to pass on, so I just freaking sent it in there. And, you know, I should have trusted my instincts a little bit more. I only moved the bar 1 click back for turns 3, 4, and I thought about it because I got a little bit of a moment in the first lap and thought maybe I should go to P5. And I really wish I trusted my instincts a little bit more as a racer. But, yeah.
That was a heck of a save. Well done, my friend. Good luck in the race.
Thank you.
That's Santino Ferrucci.
So, again, Helio Castroneves, mile and a half, basically. Mile and a half an hour he picked up on that second lap.
What that is just confidence. He got that first lap in and go, oh, it's stuck. It's good. Okay, I'm good for that second lap. That's why everybody said, man, if I would have had a third lap, I would have been so much better. Well, everybody would have been. That's a kicker about 2 laps. It's not as easy as you think. And when you go into unknown conditions like today, this is the first time they're on track, Mark. They're coming out. They don't know what they expect out of these cars today, and a whole new day from yesterday. So anyways, yeah, that's he got some confidence in the first one. He laid it down in the second.
Castroneves third quick, by the way, 179.507. Daly, Lundquist, Castroneves, DeFrancesco, Canapino, your top 5. Hunter-Reay, Rob Peterson, Ferrucci, and Carpenter, the top 10. David Malukas wowed the crowd here 1 year ago, trying to do it again this weekend. Nick Yeoman, lap number 1 at 180.926.
Yeah, so far this is looking like a pretty stout run for the driver from Chicago, Illinois. Illinois, who I think made a lot of fans with his charge to second. We'll see what he can do later today. Mark, how does he do in qualifying? Malukas completes his run.
Checkered flag, a bit quicker, 180.926. He goes to P1 thanks to a 181.256, Davey. The two-lap average, 181.091.
Yeah, forget the 180 I talked about. I already was shot right past that. Went from 179 to all of a sudden up to a 181. So hang on. I mean, some fast guys where we have to come. They could maybe even get into that 182 mark, which we haven't seen this weekend yet.
A couple of guys that went out early, they did make the statement that, boy, going out early is not the preferred way to go here. And they expected this to happen. They expected speed to get quicker.
Yeah, and it's going to get, and it's back to confidence. It's back to seeing somebody else go out there and do it, know the track can handle it, know the track conditions are pretty good. Try to look at the balance of their car. For example, you look at, you talk to Ryan Hunter-Reay, he says his car's loose, and you've seen Ferrucci's is loose. So that's the menu for today of loose cars.
Elio Castroneves, the two-lap average, 179.507, Jay Query.
He's made 12 starts here, and it looked like it there because that was a big boy veteran run there. That second lap, take me through it, Elio.
Yeah, first lap, first of all, great job for the entire MSR group. We weren't very happy with the setup, and today we took a gamble, changed completely the car, went a little bit on the dark, using a little bit of the technical alliance with Andretti guys, and definitely first lap was like, okay, I didn't expect it was going to be the way it did it. I made some adjustments for the second one, and then it was like, can I have another one? But good job for everyone. Now let's work for the race.
Hard to believe, tended to believe, the last non-Indy oval that we will see. Elio Castroneves, best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Lap number one of the books for Kalamilot, it's 179.596. And Nick Yeoman, go back to the start of the year. Back-to-back top 10 finishes, a 5th at St. Pete and a 9th at Texas. But quite frankly, the rest of the season has not gone nearly as well. His average finish 15th.
Mark, you can kind of say that about Agustin Canapino, too, right? I mean, the results just haven't been there for Juncos Holliger Racing here in the second half of the season. It's been a rough summer. Doesn't look like Kalamilot got much on the first lap. Might have picked it up, though, on lap number 2.
179.596 on lap number 1. Lap number 2, quicker, 180.825. Should be buoyed with a decent starting position. The two-lap average, Davey, right now, second quick, 180.208.
Yeah, that's a decent run for him. When I say decent, puts him P2. I think that entire team is going to be happy with that. We've seen them up, we've seen them down, just haven't got a good footing on where, a consistency of speed yet. So, the Juncos Hollinger, they've been working really hard on those cars and putting a lot of effort into it. We've heard rumors about ILOP potentially going somewhere else, but runs like this could keep him right where he's at.
Favorite driver to come, folks. If you haven't seen your favorite driver yet, VK, Ray Hall, Sato, Rosenquist, Grosjean, and Herta, then Rossi, Kirkwood, Lundgaard, Power, Erickson, Award, McLaughlin, Newgarden, Scott Dixon, and Alex Palou will be your final 2 qualifiers. We mentioned Renus VK is out on the course right now, and things have started to improve a bit for him over the final quarter of the season. He, too, mentioned as a possibility of maybe moving on. We'll see. Nashville, he finished 14th, an 11th place finish at the Indianapolis GP a couple of weeks ago. Green flag flies, and the run is underway for Renus VK.
Renus VK, always fun to watch qualifying here on ovals. Boy, he's so good at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll see what he can do on this 1.25 mile oval in St. Louis. Nose of that car, gold. Back of that car, rear wing, and the side pods white for Renus VK, the Dutchman, out of turn number 4.
So we're looking at the number his teammate put down, Ryan Hunter-Reay, the two-lap average, 178.141 for Renus VK. Nick, 177.999.
Now that organization just doesn't seem to have that strong pace that we're used to. Down the back straightaway, Renus VK. He'll pedal it into turn number 3, Mark, but he's got to find a lot here in qualifying.
And he does need to find a lot. Matter of fact, he went very low into turn number 3. Left sides went below the white line. The wide swing off of turn number 4 off of 177.999. Picked it up a bit, 178.772. 8th quickest. Two-lap average, 178.385 to Michael Young.
With David Malukas, quickest thus far. You started 12th last year. How do you think that's going to stand by the time we're done with the rest of the field?
I don't know. I mean, that run was pretty good. Definitely more time to find, but from the short runs that we've had, I think it was pretty good. And we've almost hit it spot on with the setup, a little bit of understeer through turn 2, but had a lot of tools to play with, so I was very happy with that. And I think no matter where we end up, I think that'll be a good enough of a place to start for the race later today.
And I think the field will be very concerned about you having a very good race car as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a good race. You know, a lot of good memories here, so I'm excited to make more today.
Wish you all the best later today.
Thank you.
That's David Malukas, guys. 2-lap average, quick still, 181.091.
Sixth place finish at St. Petersburg for Graham Rahal to start the season, and then a handful of struggles. Things started to pick up a bit. 11th at Road America, 7th at Mid-Ohio, and 9th place at Toronto, then a couple of struggles. But, boy, seemed like everything came together for him. Started on pole at the Indianapolis GP, and pit strategy didn't quite work out for him, especially the one that Scott Dixon employed after he was involved in an early race incident. He did end up on the second step of the podium. So little momentum on his side, Nick Yeoman, as he heads to Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Yeah, and let's be honest, he's not the first driver to get snookered out of a win by Mike Hull and Scott Dixon. Graham Rahal, great run in Indianapolis. We'll see if he can back it up. Blue and white, the colors on that machine. Graham Rahal already into turn number 3.
Iconic Hogan Trucking reunited with the Rahal family here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Graham points it out of turn number 4 to the start-finish line. Lap number 1, 177.837. Again, 177.837. Nick, he needs to pedal a little harder off of turn number 2.
Yeah, he really charged deep into turn number 1 here on lap number 2. We'll see if he implements a similar strategy into turn number 3. Yeah, he'll get those left side Firestones down along the red and white lines, the curbing the entrance of the corner, then lets it eat up off of turn 4 for Graham Rahal.
177.837, lap number 2, 178.886, the 2-lap average, 9th quickest, Davey, at 178.360.
Yeah, really not too bad. Pretty good run from I think he's getting some confidence. That's better than he's been all weekend, and the car didn't look too bad.
Jake Query.
You get a car not looking too bad. I would imagine that Caleb Eilert looked like you guys had a pretty good conversation with Ricardo Juncos when you got out. How did your car feel, and take me through that conversation?
Really, really good. We've rolled up to the track with a great car, and yeah, we've been able to build on it. And today I felt the confidence straight away out of the box, and still currently P2, so that's not too bad. Yeah, hopefully we can maintain that.
Are you with Ricardo next year?
That's a tough question. Yeah, at the moment, yes. So.
We'll see what happens. Right now, provisionally second on the grid. That's 77 for Callum Eilert. Big smile on his face, as a matter of fact. Thumbs up. Good run for him here in qualifying.
Former pole sitter, former winner, Takuma Sato, going through his warm-up pace. Let's go to Michael Young.
Yeah, with Rinus VK, it was a tough qualification session for Ed Carpenter Racing. Your run, walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, the conditions are quite a bit better than yesterday, so definitely went faster. Felt a lot better than yesterday, but just not good enough. Anyway, I got good guidance from Ed and Ryan going ahead of me, so that helped. We made a few changes, but it's tough. Guys, really fast here, so we have to work hard. But the BidNow.com team is working hard. We're, the points are giving in the race, so that's what we're focusing on right now.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
That's Rinus VK.
Rock solid first lap, Nick Yeoman, 181.267 for Takuma Sato.
Yeah, I don't know if this will be Takuma Sato's last IndyCar race or not, but if it is, it's a good qualifying effort so far out of turn number 4. Mark, can he back up what he did in lap number 1?
Off of 181.267, a little faster, 181.587, 2-lap average, vaults him to P1, provisionally, Davey, 181.427.
Yeah, good lap. His first lap was almost identical to the lap that Malukas ran. I thought, oh, geez, everybody's been picking up on that second lap, so if he does, it's going to shoot him on provisional pole. It looks smooth, looked good. Remember, yesterday, he was actually third quick at one point, and then got high down to the marbles in 3 and 4, gathered it up, almost get into that outside barrier, but learned a little bit from that as well.
181.427, that bumps Malukas to P2. Then Eilert, Daly, Lundqvist, Castroneva, Steve Francesco, Canapino, VK, and Rahal through 10th. Hunter Ray is 11th. Stingray Robb is 12th. Benjamin Peterson 13th. Santino Ferrucci is 14th. Ed Carpenter currently 15th. So Felix Rosenqvist heads out for warm-up laps now. He'll be followed by Roman Grosjean, then Colton Herta, Alexander Rossi, Kyle Kirkwood, Christian Lundgaard, Then Willpower, Marcus Ericsson, Pato Award, Scott McLaughlin, Joseph Newgarden, Dixon, and Pelot. So, Davey, plenty of intrigue left to qualify.
Yeah, it's going to continue to get faster and faster as we go. Rosenqvist, we know how good of a qualifier is. He's obviously been on a few poles. We know he can get the job done. I think he's looking, I don't know if he's looking for a ride, but he's applying to everybody for a ride, I think, because don't know where he's going to land next year. I'd like to say right where he is, but a couple wins, maybe finishing the season out strong could be good for him.
We don't want to belabor a point. Average starting position 9th, average finish position 15th. Let's go to Jake Query.
Coming off a really good weekend for the team and for Graham Rahal. Take me through the run of that 15 Hogan machine and how it felt here at Gateway.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, performance-wise, we want to be a lot further than that, but we had a terrible practice session, had some electronic issues, had some other things that really, I mean, in essence, we barely ran at all last night. So, honestly, I was coming into this completely blind, had no clue what to expect at all. And so it was decent, I think, considering that. I would have liked to find, that extra 2/10 in lap 1 that we found on lap 2, because I think that would have moved us up quite a bit. But it's in one piece, and we'll go racing from there.
Best of luck to you.
Thanks.
Graham Rahal.
Lap number 1, 181.104. Not been all bad for Felix Rosenqvist this season. Nick Yeoman does have a top 3 and a couple of top 5s.
Yeah, line looked pretty good through turns 3 and 4. He streaks across the start-finish line underneath the checkered flag of Aaron Likens. Mark, how about the run for Felix Rosenqvist? Looks like he went to the top.
He did. 181.104. Lap number 2, 182.013. The 2-lap average, Davey, 181.557 for Felix Rosenqvist.
Yeah, pretty impressive. There's that 182-mile-an-hour lap that we thought we might see, and we've seen it. So now can somebody try to get an average in that 182? I think conditions are really good. Speeds are going up, and I think more and more confidence. And obviously, they're on the faster guys due to points are coming up. So, when we got a lot of Penske guys left, it's only 16 qualifiers out of the 20, what do we got, 27 this weekend.
We said something this morning we haven't been able to say in a while. Boy, did it feel good when we walked outside this morning.
Yeah, how about that? No rain and no heat. I mean,
right.
Friday, 116 degrees with a heat index, 104 ambient temp, and then rain all day yesterday, and today did feel pretty good. Overcast, a really good day for racing.
Warm-ups underway for Romain Grosjean, Michael Young.
Yeah, with Takuma Sato as he just climbed out of the car, his last run of 2023, and how happy were you with that qualification attempt? It looked extremely quick.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. If anything, you could go a little bit more greedy. That you could always improve. But I think it was the best balance probably I had this season so far in terms of just the qualifiers. This is no offense to the team; it's good conditions. It's always difficult, but and always tough to be the first outing for the team too. But try to help the teammates, and I'm sure they're going quicker. But I think what we've done is a good job, 11 team.
Well done. Good luck in the race.
Thank you.
That's Takuma Sato, guys.
And pretty good run underway by Romain Grosjean, 181.125. Lap number 2, pretty consistent, 181.723. Davey, his 2-lap average slots him in provisionally third quick. Romain Grosjean, the 2-lap average, 181.424.
Yeah, talk about another driver that needs to have a little bit of luck and have some results. I mean, I think if he won the next 3 races, I'm not so sure that he still even has a locked-in ride. So he's driving for his job as well, or trying to figure out where he's going to land next. But right now, good qualifying run by Romain, provisionally third.
Talk about a guy that needs some luck. It's been feast or famine this season, Davey, for our next qualifier, Colton Herta. I mean, 20th at St. Pete. He finished 14th at Barber Motorsports Park, had a 19th place finish in the first race at Iowa, 21st at Nashville, 13th place finish at the Indianapolis GP a couple of weeks ago, but he's also had a couple of podium finishes and a couple of top 5s.
Yeah, you say he needs some consistency. Just hasn't been the Colton that we're used to seeing, although there was 2 races I thought he was going to really kind of dominate it.
Right.
One of them was a pit strategy. They pit him just a little bit too early, ran him out of fuel. And the second one, he sped in pit lane. I think he could have 2 wins, 2 more wins underneath his belt overall right now, but just a little bad luck.
We'll watch his run while we hear from Felix Rosenqvist.
We knew that those Aero McLaren cars were going to be good. That Onsemi Chevrolet for Felix Rosenqvist, really good. Sits provisionally P1 right now. How much of that was driver adjustment? Did you go out and just drive it, or over the course of 2 laps you have to change the car?
I had to change it a little bit from lap 1 to lap 2. I think I lost a little bit in 3 and 4 on my first lap. Second lap was Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't super stoked with how it came together. I think it was a pretty good run, but also the track condition is getting better and better, so I felt like I needed a little bit more rolling out so early to really fight with the big dogs. So we'll see. I think if we come out in the top 7, 8, I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, let's see what the guys can do here.
We'll see if car 6 is in the top 7 or 8. Mark?
181.930. Colton Herta, lap number 1, already setting up for turn 4.
Yeah, he let that car get awful close to the outside retaining wall at the exit of turn number 2. Takes a wide line out of turn number 4 as well. Driver of the Gainbridge Honda, Colton Herta.
And he pops to P1, lap number 2, 181.963 off of 181.930. The 2-lap average for Colton Herta, 181.946.
As that for consistency, Mark, both 181, not 0.9, so that's a really good consistent run. We've seen he was fast yesterday, but had a big moment as well. Got down in turn 3, car slid up, he got the back end, came around. He was another one, had fast hands, was able to save that, got up close to the wall, but continued on with no damage.
To Romain Grosjean.
Romain Grosjean looked like a pretty good lap from the 2 laps, I should say, from that DHL Honda. How did it feel from your vantage point?
Yeah, felt really good. I think it was just a little bit too careful. It's a short time prior to the race, so I didn't want to take too much risk, but the car feels good as it was last night, so quite optimistic for the race.
I look forward to watching later this afternoon. Be safe.
Thank you.
It's Romain Grosjean.
Yeah, and so here's where we stand right now. Colton Herta is your fastest qualifier thus far. Then Rosenqvist, Sato, Grosjean, and Malukas, the top 5. Eilert, Daly, Lundqvist, Castroneves, and DeFrancesco through 10th. 11th, Canapino. 12th, VK. 13th, Rahal. 14th, Hunter Ray. 15th, Stingray Robb. 16th, Benjamin Peterson. 17th, Santino Ferrucci. And 18th fastest is Ed Carpenter. Alexander Rossi going through warm-up laps as we speak. Then Kyle Kirkwood. Then Lundgaard. Then Power, Ericsson, O'Ward, McLaughlin, Newgarden, Dixon, and Alex Palou. And Alexander Rossi dials it through turn number 3. He'll come off of 4, and he will see the green flag fly, and the run is underway for the former Indy 500 champion.
Yeah, and I'm interested, Mark, because I thought Alexander Rossi looked pretty good in practice yesterday. Nice sharp angle into turn number 1. Lets that car dig off of turn number 2. Down the back straightaway. Lets it slide to the left, then back to the right as he sets up for turn number 3.
Boy, that orange really pops, believe it or not, underneath these cloudy skies here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's a good-looking race car with the accents of that light blue. Lap number 1 of the books, 180.988. Again, 180.988 for Alexander Rossi already into turn number 2.
Had that car pinned to the inside line through turns 1 and 2. That is the preferred lane, no doubt, in qualifying. The Californian Alexander Rossi into turn number 3 as he charges his way out of corner number 4 to complete his qualifying run.
And again, lap number 1 for Alexander Rossi, 180.988. Lap number 2, again a consistent run, 180.963. Davey, the 2-lap average for Alexander Rossi, provisionally 6th fastest at 180.975.
You're not sure he's going to be content with that. It looked like the car just wasn't quite to his liking. He maybe left a little bit on the table. P6 right now. I think it could be a top 10 start. But he's ready to have a start towards the front of the field and get a win under his belt as well this year.
So again, Colton Herta right now provisionally sets P1 at 181.946 miles per hour. His 2-lap average. Rosenqvist is 2nd fastest. Then Sato, Grosjean, Malukas the top 5. Rossi, Eilert, Daly, Lundqvist, and Castroneves the top 10. DeFrancesco was 11th. Canapino was 12th. Then VK, Rahal, Hunter Ray. Then Robb, Peterson, Ferrucci, and Carpenter. Watching the driver put his car through the warm-up paces now. We're watching Kyle Kirkwood, a 2-time winner this season. And he's been pretty dominant on the street circuits, Nick Yeoman, as he takes the green flag.
Yeah, he's got a pole to his name as well. Did that at Long Beach. We'll see what Kyle Kirkwood can do in that pink and white AutoNation machine for Andretti Autosport. Out of turn number 2, he'll let that car get awful close to the outside retaining wall. The American Kirkwood from Florida darts into turn number 3.
Now a familiar, I think, AutoNation paint scheme associated with Kyle Kirkwood as he guides it off of turn number 4. Barely missed that outside retaining wall. Lap number 1 is in the books for Kyle Kirkwood, 180.608. Again, 180.608. We'll recap the run after we hear from the driver provisionally. P1, Colton Herta.
Yeah, I peeked down into turn number 4, and I thought Colton Herta was having a moment, but that's how far you were letting that car hang out. You were right up on the outside of that wall. Great run, provisionally P1 thus far. Walk us through.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much the max that we could hope for. You know, the balance felt really good, and you know, our times lap 1 to lap 2 were really close. So I think we nailed the deg there, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think the track will probably get a little bit better, and maybe guys will go faster. But I'm hoping that time holds on.
Go. Best of luck in the race.
Thank you.
There you go. That's Colton Hurd again. That 2-lap average 181.946.
A consistent run for Kyle Kirkwood off of 186.08. Lap number 2, 180.576. Provisionally, Davey, 2-lap average 180.592. He's currently 7th quick.
He's currently 7th quick. Not sure he's going to be content with that. I mean, like we continue to say, you can win from anywhere in this racetrack. It's going to be a lot of fun watching these guys. But I think that's a little off where Kyle would like to be.
So we've got Lundgaard, who's out going through his warm-up paces now. Then Will Power, Marcus Ericsson, Pato O'Ward, Scott McLaughlin, Joseph Newgarden, Dixon, and Pillow. We should make mention to the fact some of these drivers we're going to see qualified, Davey. It's going to be, I think, important for them to get all they can out of this because we've got McLaughlin, Dixon, Sato, Kirkwood, Canapino, and Pillow, all with 9-spot grid penalties.
Oh, that's right. That's you know what? It's going to be all mixed up here, and I forgot about that. Just so what we're telling you what's going to happen may not happen because some of the cars going faster, including Sato in that P3 spot right now with the grid penalty. He's going to find his way towards the back. So, yeah, what we're telling you, folks, after the grid penalties from engine change is going to be a completely different lineup.
Been a pretty good season all in all, Nick Yeoman, for Christian Lundgaard. I mean, you know, a 7th-place finish at Road America. He finished 4th at Mid-Ohio, of course, the winner at Toronto, and then the last couple of races, a 9th-place finish at Nashville and a 4th-place finish at the Indianapolis GP. Second half of the season, especially after a disastrous month of May, been rock solid for this driver.
I kind of look at Christian Lundgaard as best in class, as he's done a really nice job. Enters this weekend 8th in IndyCar points. Lap number 1 is in the books as the driver for Ray Hall, Letterman Lanigan, already darting his way down the back straightaway. Hy-Vee, the sponsorship on that car. Black and red, the colors, Mark, as he shoots his way into the 3rd corner.
That lap number 1 Nick spoke of, 178.820. Not going to be happy with this run, we don't think. 178.820. Lap number 1. Lap number 2, 178.848. Davey, the 2-lap average, 178.834, 13th fastest.
Yeah, and talk about consistency on that one as well. I mean, we know Lundgaard had a great run, got a win underneath his belt, has some momentum going on. We got to remember, he's not an oval specialist. He hasn't been to that many. He's still trying to get the hang of it. That Ray Hall team still struggling just a little bit, although he came closer to Daly in one of his teammates and got ahead of Graham right in between them.
Let's hear from Kyle Kirkwood, Michael Young.
We talked about, or have been talking about, consistency and comfort in the car. How was your run?
You know, it wasn't bad. It wasn't the best run that I've ever had, but we were a little bit on the free side. I was happy with the run, though. Given the balance that I had, it's crazy that you can have like so many different cars that are out here that are pretty much set up the same, and they all give you a little bit of a different feeling compared to your teammates. So it's so interesting. But you know, I'm happy with that. We're one of the cars getting a grid spot penalty at the end of this, so we knew we were going to be qualifying deep anyways. But we know we got a good race car based on our practice yesterday. I was super happy with our pace and traffic, so that's going to be our advantage.
Good luck in the race.
Thank you.
That's Kyle Kirkwood.
3-car incident in practice last night. Only 2 of them were damaged. One of the cars belonging to Will Power, who's qualifying now. A long night for that team to get that car put back together, along with Marcus Ericsson. Started with Scott McLaughlin spun. So Will Power comes off of turn number 4. We'll see what lap number 1 looks like for Will Power. He's fast all day yesterday. 180.774. Again, lap number 1, Nick Yeoman, 180.774.
He exits turn number 2. That's where that accident happened yesterday. That hard contact with Marcus Ericsson. Will Power, Verizon, the sponsorship, red and black machine, the driver from Toowoomba, Australia, one of the veterans and the best qualifiers in IndyCar history. Will Power out of turn number 4.
180.774. Lap number 2, 181.119. 2-lap average slots him in provisionally. 7th fastest, 180.946 to Jake Query.
Alexander Rossi is out of his machine. Seemed like yesterday during practice you had a pretty good car. Did it translate over to today, or did it leave you chasing a little bit?
No, it was a good car. I think we missed the gear a little bit, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm surprised we beat Will there, so that's a good thing. So we'll see how it goes. I think we should be in the top 10 or just out of it. So.
Just in terms of traffic itself, obviously you're constantly going to be in traffic on a track like this. Pretty good car in traffic?
Yeah, it's still difficult to pass around here, obviously, but the overcast, the cool temps should make it pretty racy. Like, it was a lot of grip here, even compared to the night last night. So I think it'll be a good show.
Good luck to you.
Thanks.
Alexander Rossi, Mark.
Don't adjust your set. That is the car of Marcus Ericsson going through warm-up paces
that's right.
now.
It doesn't look like you said. That's the Frankenstein car we talked about. Mostly it's Pelot's tub and main part of the car, but they did add Ericsson's wings on it, put a little bit of red on the top of it, try to differ that number 8 car for Marcus Ericsson, who was victim of circumstance as well when McLaughlin spun and Power and him had to avoid. So we'll see what they can do. His teammate ran pretty darn good. I think he's already been out. One of the Ganassi cars actually was Sato in P3.
Just a couple of finishes outside of the top 10 this season for Marcus Ericsson. He finished 27th at Mid-Ohio. He finished 11th at Toronto. Nothing but top 10s other than that. Started the season with a bang, Nick Yeoman, with a win at St. Petersburg. Marcus Ericsson's been in championship contention again this season.
I always wonder how awkward this is, right? This past week announced that he's moving on to another team, but still 3 races to go with Chip Ganassi. A lot of good memories, though, as you mentioned. They've had some strong runs and won the Indianapolis 500 a year ago. Marcus Ericsson in that red, white, and blue car completes lap number 1.
Lap number 1 is in the books for Marcus Ericsson, and oh my goodness, 178.742, Davey, for Marcus Ericsson.
Not going to be content with that, and I think it's a situation as well. I mean, obviously he's the Indy 500 winner. He knows ovals, but some of these short ovals are a bit challenging, I think, for him. Not confidence yet, and they may need to just tweak on that car a little bit. We know it's put together properly. There's no question about Ganassi's team getting it right. I just think it lacks a little bit of confidence. Second lap, 179.0. Didn't pick up a lot, but picked up a little bit in that 13th position right now.
13th fastest, 178.901. Jake Query.
Christian Lundgaard is out of his 45 Hy-Vee machine. How was the run for you?
Pretty good. I think probably there's the potential that Connor did. I think that was in the car. I struggled a little bit with entry and stability into one, and I hit some mid to exit understeer, and I tried to correct for that on the second lap, but didn't quite manage to. But the car was in a good window today.
Appreciate the time, Christian Lundgaard. Michael Young?
Yeah, with Will Power. Will, from yesterday to today, I know that team worked hard to get that car fixed. How was it to your liking?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's a good balance. It was, don't know where the time was. I think we kind of changed gears a little bit last night. So I had to get used to that pattern a little bit. It was a good run. Yeah, it's, I don't know what else could have done.
180.946. That was a qualifying 2-lap for Will Power.
We talked a little bit about Felix Rosenqvist. How about his teammate in terms of average start and average finish? An average starting position of 6th for Pato O'Ward, our next qualifier. Average finish of 8th, Davey.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, that's another one that they're qualifying good with that Arrow McLaren team. They just need to get some finishes under their belt where they're a little more consistent and a little farther up front.
A couple of races have cost him an opportunity to be a serious threat for a championship. 17th place finish at Long Beach, a 24th place finish at the Indianapolis 500, and a 26th place finish at Detroit. Looking to finish strong is Pato O'Ward as he takes the green flag and guides it into turn number 2.
Mark just wanted to point out the side pods on Pato's car are black. The side pods on Rosenqvist's a very dark gray for when the inevitable happens to one of us during the race, maybe both. We'll see what Pato does in that nearly identical Chevrolet for Arrow McLaren. The line looks pretty good. Car, a bit of a wiggle out of turn number 4. Pato O'Ward about to complete lap number 1.
Everyone chasing Colton Herta, 181.946. Lap number 1, 181.782. Already setting up for turn number 2 is Pato O'Ward.
Always a lot of Pato O'Ward fans. I can see a bunch of them standing and sitting right down there near the start-finish line. They gave a wave, and they're going to see their driver from Mexico charge out of turn number 4. Here comes Pato O'Ward to complete his qualifying run here at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Lap number 1 in the books, 181.782. Lap number 2, 181.661. The 2-lap average for Pato O'Ward. Second fastest, 181.722. Falls a little short of Colton Herta at 181.946. Third fastest, Felix Rosenqvist. Takuma Sato is 4th fastest. 5th fastest is Grosjean. Then it's Malukas, Rossi, Power, Kirkwood, and Eilert the top 10. Daly's 11th, Lundqvist is 12th, 13th Castro Neves, 14th Ericsson, 15th DeFrancesco, 16th is Lundgaard, 17th Canapino, 18th VK, 19th Rahal, 20th Hunter Ray, 21st Stingray Robb, Peterson, Ferrucci, and Carpenter. The 24 qualifiers again, everyone chasing Colton Herta at 181.946. Scott McLaughlin is up next. We talked to him earlier. He says he still has to achieve the level of comfort that he would like on the ovals. Each time out, he tries to get more and more comfortable. We'll see what his level of comfort is now as the green flag flies for the Team Penske driver who sets up for turn number 1.
Odyssey Batteries, the sponsorship on that red and white Chevrolet for Team Penske's Scott McLaughlin. Did end up with a podium finish here a year ago, Mark, coming home in the 3rd position, but Scott McLaughlin always looking for a little bit more. Car 3 into turn 3, it's Scott McLaughlin.
14th place finish at the Indianapolis 500, and he has been on a tear. Nothing but top 10s since, including a couple of runner-up finishes at Iowa and also at Iowa, and we should say at Nashville. So it's been a good second half of the season for Scott McLaughlin, and a good first lap, Nick Yeoman, 182.508.
Could this be a provisional pole run for the driver from down under? Scott McLaughlin takes his way into turn 3 and 4. Lets that car stay right in the rubber that's been laid down. The line looks good out of turn 4 for Scott McLaughlin.
Off of 182.508, 183.395. The 2-lap average, 182.951.
Wow, impressive. 183.395. Didn't know if we'd see anybody in that 183 range, but holy smokes, almost a 183 average, as you said, a 182.951.
So 182.508, 183.395, the 2-lap average. Slots him in at P1 at 182.951. Herta now goes to second quick. Award, Rosenqvist, and Sato the top 5, Michael Young.
We just saw a monster 2-lap average from Scott McLaughlin. Pato Award, though, 181.722 comfort level in that car. Happy with that?
Yeah, happy with that. You got to go. Not that you have to go conservative in these situations, but this track will bite if you get too greedy. So for us today, the most important thing is just having a good starting position. So I think we've done that, and we'll see what Joseph's got in both Palau and Dixie. But I think we're in good shape.
Good luck in the race. Great job. That's Pato Award.
Going for the 4-peat here, trying to sweep the ovals, including a doubleheader weekend at Iowa. And oh, by the way, the Indianapolis 500 as well. Joseph Newgarden looking for win number 5 in his career here, Nick Yeoman, already into turn number 1.
Mark, we've been racing IndyCars for a long, long time, and never in the history of this sport has anyone won every single oval event in a given season. That's what Joseph Newgarden has a chance to do later today. Awful strong in qualifying as well. That PPG Chevrolet already darting his way out of turn 4.
Boy, that wheel looks awfully good. He's not getting fought at all as he puts input into that steering. Lap number 1, 182.108. Joseph Newgarden already setting up for turn number 2.
Blue and white machine, and of course the multicolors of that PPG sponsorship from the driver from Hendersonville, Tennessee. He won at Texas. He won at Indianapolis. Won both races at Iowa. What could he do here in qualifying? Joseph Newgarden. It's a high line out of turn number 4, but Mark, he rockets his way towards the start-finish line.
182.108, 182.673. Not faster than McLaughlin, but still plenty fast. The 2-lap average, Davey, 182.390.
Yeah, what a huge relief we see with McLaughlin. He still has his helmet on, but you can see the smile through it that he just beat his teammate, Joseph Newgarden. And both going to be happy with those runs. Joseph just, I don't think he left anything on the table. I think that's how close they are. Barely, it's to what, not even half a tiff a mile an hour.
Yeah, and I think Pato Award, very matter-of-fact, Davey. I mean, he knows that he can race from where he's going to start from, even with a couple of qualifiers left.
Yeah, Pato, he's solid right there. So is Rosenqvist. Those guys just need to get some finishes. Need to make sure they make no mistakes throughout the race. Just get that checkered flag, and if they could do that, they're going to be towards the front.
Well, 19s were wild for Scott Dixon at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway a couple of weeks ago, Davey. Career start 319, and also 19 years with at least one win. Let's hear from the guy who's currently P1, Scott McLaughlin.
McLaughlin, you made it look easy. Question is, was it that?
No, it's never easy on a short oval. But the Odyssey battery car was so fast yesterday and really good confidence for me heading into qualifying. So we'll see if we hold on here for the next couple. We've got a 9-place grid spot penalty, so I just want to get pole if I can and start 9th.
I saw kind of the demonstrative relief when you saw Newgarden's time. Is that the biggest arrow you got to dodge?
No, it's just like you want to beat your teammates, and I'm competitive as crap, so yeah, I just want to beat all of them.
Appreciate the time, Scott.
Thank you, mate.
Scott McLaughlin.
Yeah, good stuff. What a year it's been for Scott Dixon, Nick Yeoman. He finished 27th at Long Beach. Other than that, he's not finished worse than 7th this season.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, top 6 in the last 10 races. It's been overshadowed by the incredible year that his teammate Alex Palou has had, but make no mistake, Scott Dixon's having a typical Scott Dixon-like summer.
Lap number 1 in the books for Scott Dixon, 181.346, and not a pole speed, but still plenty fast.
Car looked a little unstable at the exit of turn number 2. We'll see if Scott can woe it back down and maybe find a little speed and stability through turns 3 and 4. It's the PNC Bank Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing out of the 4th corner.
181.346, lap number 2, pretty consistent, 181.539. The 2-lap average for Scott Dixon, Davey, 181.442, 6th fastest.
Yeah, I think he's going to be pretty happy with that. I mean, just a good race car. Give Scott just a good race car and the strategy and his talent to bring him where he needs to be, but always want to be a little quicker, but that's pretty good for Scott.
Michael Young.
I know you're disappointed he didn't get the pole, but that was a heck of a qualification run. Always want to beat your teammate, but 182 is pretty stout.
Yeah, it was good for Team Penske. Just an okay run from us, so move on to the race.
We'll wish you all the best, and I'm sure you'll do pretty good.
Thanks.
There you go. That's Joseph Newgarden, guys.
Points leader Alex Palou is our final qualifier.
Yep.
Davey, going to be interesting to watch this run.
Yeah, right now it is going to be interesting. You kind of look at his teammates. One of them just went. That was Scott Dixon. Sits in P6 right now. If he could just kind of equal that, and he has a grid penalty as well, so he needs to qualify as good as he can, knowing that he's not going to start towards the front, but the farther you qualify up front, the less the pain is when you get that penalty.
14 starts on the season, 4 wins, a couple of poles, 8 top 3 finishes, 11 top 5s, and 14 top 10s. An incredible stat for Alex Palou in 61 career starts to go along with his 8 wins and 3 poles. Now get this. 23 times, Davey, he's finished in the top 3 in 61 starts.
Just unbelievable. I mean, and that shows why he's almost a 2-time champion, and he's getting the job done from the time he set in IndyCar. He's just consistent. He's a good guy. I just hate seeing all the controversy around it, but he's been able to accept that pretty good and still run for championships.
Lap number 1 is in the books for your points leader, Alex Palou, already setting up for turn number 2.
Yeah, not only running for that championship, Davey, but he's got a chance if he outpoints Joseph Newgarden and Scott Dixon by a couple spots this weekend, where he could clinch it. The Spaniard, Alex Palou, looking for championship number 2. He's got the American Legion colors this weekend, Mark, out of turn 4.
May have mistakenly said lap number 1 was in the books. That was actually the start of lap number 1. Lap number 1, 181.546. Again, 181.546 for Alex Palou off of turn number 2.
So consistent, so smooth, never beats himself. That's why he has had such a spectacular season. Alex Palou, the final qualifier out of turn number 4, about to put this thing in the books. Here comes the Spaniard, Mark, as he rips underneath the start-finish line.
181.546, lap number 2, 181.652. The 2-lap average, 5th fastest, 181.599. So Scott McLaughlin will lead the field to the green flag later today, Jay Query.
Scott Dixon is out of his PNC. This is probably going to be a really dumb question, but when you go into it knowing that you have that grid penalty, does it in any way, shape, or form change how much you're going to push?
No, I think you're always trying to get the maximum out of it. I think there's maybe 6 or 7 of us that are getting grid penalties today, so that's it's always the tough part, obviously, of the business, but yeah, is what it is, and we'll push on here.
How's the
Really confusing qualifying session then for IndyCar, but it is going to be McLaughlin who at least tops qualifying as it stands. We'll be back at 8:30 for all of the action, British Summer Time, from the Bob Morado 500, the final oval race of the year, where Alex Palou could clinch the title. We'll see you later on. Take care. Bye-bye.